So welcome to the second day of the Ortus Developers Week. This is our 6th edition and we are so excited for doing this event one more year. Please follow us on Twitter at Ortus Solutions and use our hashtag ODW2017. Okay, so what is ODW? It's a 3-week-long online conference. We have 3 sessions a day for 5 dates, and it's led by the Ortus team and some community members. All sessions will be recorded. Yesterday's sessions have been uploaded already, and they can be found at ortusolution.com ODW. And also we'll be sharing the slides as soon as we can. Why ODW, Ortus Solutions, or Ortus Developers Week? Well, because we love training and education and we want to offer more free training. We will expose products, services, and new cool stuff. Today we will have Luis, who is gonna present CommandBox and ForgeBox, which is gonna be so much fun. I know you will love it. Also, we want the community to get involved and adopt to new technologies. We are a professional open source company. We provide training, support and mentoring, architecture and design, server tuning, security and setup, web development, and sometimes mariachi singing is included. Oh, sorry. Since we are a professional open source, we need some sponsorships. You can become an Ortus patron and help us to maintain ForgeBox.io. If you use or like any of our products, you can sponsor us with just $10 a month so we can keep our documentations and downloads alive. Today is November 7th, and this is our first session of the day, 9 a.m. at Pacific time, 11 a.m. at Central time, and we will have a lot of more sessions during the week. Please check your schedules. We also have 2 important announcements. So next week on November 14 and the 15th, we will have the CF Summit RESTful Services Bootcamp. So don't miss it. It's going to be really, really good. It's going to be presented by Luis Majano and Brad Wood. So there is a discount code over there, so you can get a better price. Remember that the seating is limited, so don't miss it. Also, next year on April 25th to 27th, we will have Into the Box in 2018 in Houston, Texas. So those are the links, so you can get the tickets now. And it's gonna be super, super fun. So now I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and Luis, you're welcome to start with your presentation. Ready, Luis?
Okay, sorry, I was muted. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okie dokie. All right, so welcome day 2. I guess I am kicking it off today. Hopefully I will get to inspire you a little bit. My session is on CommandBox and ForgeBox, mostly on how to build packages, how to start collaborating, and demystifying how difficult it is to basically just start collaborating. So, brief introduction. Who am I? My name is Luis Majano. I am a computer engineer by trade. I have been imported from El Salvador to the US a long time ago. CEO of Ortus, community professional, and there's a little history of my employment and a beautiful picture of El Salvador. All right, little agenda what we're going to see today. Before I go into ForgeBox and CommandBox, we have to mention why we developed it. And we developed it because of legacy CFML. That is the impetus around the majority of the things that we're pulling out as products right now is because there's a tremendous illness in the CFML community, which is called legacy. And our mantra is how can we modernize and bring these legacy applications back into the future. CommandBox is one of them, so we'll definitely leverage some features of CommandBox today, especially around package management. Demystify and go in depth in how packages work in CommandBox, and then how they connect to ForgeBox, which is our cloud solution for our packages. And ultimately, our end goal is to make CFML huge again. So let's start our process by seeing how we work in CoFusion. The reality is that most of the time we have been working by scouring old projects, scouring the web, finding little bits of code here and there, copy pasting a lot, and then ultimately building our application. We used an IDE, of course. Maybe we started to use some automation via Ant. Maybe we started using the CLI. I know a lot of developers, especially for Windows folks, they're very scared of the CLI. They never even knew there was a CLI in Windows. But the reality is that we have code now going everywhere, in every direction. We don't even know where it comes from. We don't even know what version it is. We just know that if we remove one piece of this puzzle, the whole thing can go down. So the reality at the end of the day, how we've been working is purely Frankensteinian, and that is a word. Let me shut down the AC here so we can hopefully hear me better here. But at the end of the day, we end up with this monster of application with all these little bits and pieces that have come from who knows where. There are no accountability in terms of what types of libraries I'm using, and it's just a maintenance nightmare. It is a monster. That is the reality. Which then comes into what I call CFML shaming. I have felt like this a long time ago, not anymore. But before, you felt like this. You were ashamed of saying that you were working with CFML in CoFusion because of the lack of tooling, lack of this type of package management, CLI integration, operating system integrations, cool applications, and really just being in depth of legacy hell. We were way behind the cool kids. So all this shaming and all this guilt surrounding our day-to-day really build it up for us. And we were like, how should we work? And the reality is that a lot of other languages, a lot of other applications have already solved these issues. From package management to CLI integrations to REPLs, which is read, evaluate, print, and loop. The ability to actually execute code at the operating system and get results. Automation, and of course, operating system integration. So this is how we were supposed to work. So at least with ForgeBox and CommandBox, we believe that we can take CFML back to the future. So let's start with CommandBox. So CommandBox has been around now for more than 3 years. And it is still incredible sometimes to know that people have no idea what it is or even what it does. So it's important to know why we built it. You saw the reasons. And then what is in it. And it has evolved throughout these 3 years very rapidly and getting more mature and more mature as we grow. So what is CommandBox? CommandBox is an operating system binary, okay, that works in any operating system that Java can execute. In its core, it is a command line interface, okay? So it actually will provide you with a way to actually execute commands, but it also will help you as a package manager, a REPL tool, so it will do read, eval, print, loop for you, so you can actually execute a la carte commands or statements and actually get results. It is an integrated server, and this is where we have done tremendous development to make really CFML servers ubiquitous at the operating system level. And I believe that we are very, very much ahead of the curve here in many other languages and what we call JVM containers. So, and there is a lot of work that we're doing in the next version for CommandBox 4 that would deal with actually orchestrating these integrated servers at the operating system level. ForgeBox, which is our cloud-based package manager. And of course, we wanted CommandBox to be written in a way that people could collaborate. Not many people know, but CommandBox actually is two parts. It is a thin Java layer to actually be able to integrate at the operating system level, but then it is also almost 90% of it built in CFML. So you can actually go in, create more commands, change the way CommandBox works, hack at it, collaborate, you can go nuts. We also have the concept of automation and task runners. Task runners were new for CommandBox 3, and they're still being developed, highly developed right now, but you have the same concept than in the other languages and other CLI tooling. And of course, scaffolding. We have done tremendous work in scaffolding to help the CommandBox developers to actually build cool CLI tools from menu-driven things to actually wizards, etc. So CommandBox in a nutshell are these features. We've also done tremendous amount, like I said, in JVM containers to actually give you portability and accessibility to any CFML engine, no matter if it's Adobe or Lucy, to execute and run it, but also to be able to make it portable. So Brad's brainchild here is CFconfig, which is the ability to actually have configuration in a JSON format about all the features of your CFML engine, which makes it extremely portable. So you can actually have the same settings across tiers, especially when you're building, of course, containers. So now you have the ability to start up or warm up a server with the actual configurations that you want, from data sources to caches, to security profiles, to logging, etc. So right now, there is no reason for you to be maintaining CFML servers like if they're pets. Those days should be gone. In the modern world, we should be able to actually treat them as disposable pieces of engines, which we can now. Now, this talk will mostly be based on package management. That is what I'm going to delve into, and we're going to delve into how to build packages, how they run, what are the major features of package management in CommandBox, and then obviously go to questions to see if I can help answer anything that you guys need. Now, be prepared. The next slide is a little graphic, so be prepared. Anyways, don't touch that node. But here's the thing, why? We have everything that we need in CFML. We just need you to write packages. We have all the tools necessary to be building very cool CLI tooling. There are really no more excuses. I believe there was a guy in the channel that had written a tester for TestBox in Node, and Brad got mad, and that afternoon we had a new tester in CFML with watchers and everything. So we just need to start writing more packages. We need to increment our ecosystem, but our tooling is there and beyond. So, usage. There are two types or ways to leverage CommandBox. By execution, that means that you call the binary and you pass in a template location like box myapp.cfm, and that will execute that CFML template and give you an output of results. The other approach is to use our shell. Our shell is basically a way for you to actually be executing multiple commands within the binary, so you don't have the full binary lifecycle. That means that your commands will be executing way, way faster because we don't have to bootstrap the shell in the operating system. You have history, and you have obviously a cool way for you to be interacting with your operating system and CommandBox. So the shell is usually the preferred way for you to be, in your day-to-day development And the other approach, which is CLI approach, is usually done when you're doing build scripts, when you're doing a la carte commands, and just integrating with the operating system as typical OS binaries. Commands is at the core of CommandBox, thus the name. We spend a tremendous amount of time using or designing the built-in help, so it's there for you. You can actually postfix any command with the word help or a question mark, and you're going to get very cool ASCII information about your commands. Also, the commands allow you to be namespaced. What this means is that you can create chainable commands and create sort of like nests or namespaces for your commands. Commands can be aliases, commands can take in parameters or arguments. We have full tab completion for your commands, and this can come from parameters, these can come from paths, these can come from ForgeBox, or you can create your own. So tab completion is essential for this CLI. So what's a package? A package is nothing more and nothing less than a folder or a zip or a tar file that must contain a box.json. That is it. It actually doesn't even have to have any CFML code in it. It can actually be a jQuery library. It can be a Java package. It can be anything that you like. It does not matter the technology, okay? As long as you have a box.json in the root, that will be treated as a package as CommandBox. It will be treated as a versionable package, as an installable package, and an artifactable package, okay? So this can be any technology. We have created the init command, which can actually give you a very quick way for you to actually create a package. So just by saying init, you can pass in a name and a version, and it will create that box.json for you. We actually also have a wizard. You can actually say init -- wizard, and it will take you by the hand, and it will follow a wizard and create a box.json. Now, it is also important to know, where do packages run? So when you create a package, the package can actually execute as a CFML application. So when you install it, it will be installed into a CFML application. This can be CollBox. This can be non-CollBox. This can be whatever. As long as you execute those commands, it will be installed in that folder. We also have the concept of CLI packages as well. So you can actually be extending the way that CommandBox works. Or if you want to build CLI tooling, this is where you're going to be at. You're going to be building packages for the CLI. So let's make that distinction that you have those two capabilities. All right, so let's go in depth into the box.json. Your box.json is your package descriptor. In many other languages, we have them. Okay, in NPM, which we use a lot, there is package.json. Okay, in Groovy, there might be another one, etc. So it is a way for you to declare your metadata about your package. Okay, this can be your name, author, version, slug, which is important. Slug is your unique identifier for your package. It must be unique in ForgeBox, and if you are making this a public package. And it's also used internally by CommandBox to create folders, to store the artifacts around that slug. Okay, so very important. Version is also important. It must follow the semantic version approach. Okay. It can also have several installation details, so you can actually tell CommandBox how to install your package. Custom metadata, so you can actually extend it with any type of metadata as you see fit. At the end of the day, this is a JSON file. You also have the concept of package scripts, which is the ability to actually package your descriptor with automation. And it also has the concept of listeners. This was something that we introduced in CollBox many years ago, which is a whole event-driven architecture. That event-driven architecture exists in CommandBox. So you can listen when the CLI starts, when the CLI shuts down, when there's a new command, when there's another command, when then a command fails, etc. And there's many of these events, which can be at the CLI level, at the server level, or the operating system level. So you have the full gamut of extensibility via event-driven programming. All right, here's a very simple example about box.json. This is actually real from our CB debugger application, or module, sorry. It gives you the version, it gives you the slug. This is our shell. This is how we actually going to integrate the module. It has dependencies, as you can see. One is CollBox, the other one is actually from Git, and HTTPS. We also have development dependencies, and we have the installation path of where we want these folders to be installed in. We also have a test box node where we're actually telling CommandBox where we can actually execute our tests, and we have a script which is called post version that actually will execute a recipe. CommandBox has the concept of recipes, just like Puppet and Chef. We also have the ability or the notion of recipes in CommandBox, okay? And so forth and so forth. So this is a very typical sample of a box.json. You can look at the documentation and see all the different things around it. What I'm going to focus on is dependencies. So as we move forward, you'll start seeing that working with packages might require other packages. And we have two types of dependencies. The dependencies that you see there, like Callbox and the Workbench, these are dependencies that your package needs in order to work in a production environment. Okay? These are mandatory. They must exist in order for your package to work. Okay? Then we have dev dependencies. These are development dependencies. These are dependencies that are just required in order to do testing of your module or development of your module. So if I'm working on this package and I want, for example, Javier to work on this package, he might have to install those development dependencies in order to collaborate with me. They are not required for runtime or production, but they are required in order for you to do development. Okay? Hopefully that is clear. All right. Let me check just a few before I start working with packages. I want to see if there are any questions. Let's see here. Oh, Carl, there's a CLI. What is the current version of the integrated server in CommandBox? Well, CommandBox is its own integrated server, so I'm not sure I understand that question. Mark Drew. Oh, the current version of Lucy. Okay, it can actually the integrated version can actually execute any Lucy version. The one that ships with CommandBox is 4.5 for now. In CommandBox 4, it will be updated to Lucy 5, but that's just the default one. Let's see what else. Release timeline for CommandBox 4, most likely into the box next year. There's Brad answering. Very cool. Okay. Brad already mentioned the roadmap. All right. No more interesting questions. Okay, great. So if that's it, then I'm going to continue. So how do we start working with packages? We have a nifty little command called package help. And package help will actually show you all the commands within the package namespace, from being able to open bug links to clearing the package to going to the documentation page. So I don't know if somebody knew, but you can actually type package documentation and boom, if that package has that metadata, it will actually take you to the documentation for that package. The same with homepage and bugs. Package init, installation, listing, outdated, and we'll go through these. The ability to run a script within that box.json, set information dynamically, show you the information, update, versioning, etc. Very comprehensive. All right. Where can packages be stored and where do they come from? We have the concept of what we call code endpoints. Code endpoints is where CommandBox is going to search for packages. And we have many of them, and we'll be building many more as time progresses. ForgeBox is our default provider of an endpoint, which means that it will grab the slug or the information after the install command and go look for it in ForgeBox. That is the default. Okay? We also have the concept of a file or a local file. This can be a zip file or a tar. Okay? So you can actually have packages within your operating system. That means that you can also use NFS shares, you can use Windows shares, it doesn't matter. As long as it is accessible through the file system, CommandBox can talk to it. It also can mean it can be a directory. So if it's not a zip file or a tar, it can be a directory. It can also be Git. Okay, so this can be a Git repository locally or in the intertubes, as you saw from my Workbench definition. It can be using HTTPS or it can be using SSH key authentication. SVN, actually I'm not sure if we ever finished SVN. Maybe Brad can remind me. I know we had it at one point, but I'm not sure. I'll let Brad answer because I'm not sure if we made that. GitHub is also available. So you can actually give it a username, a / repo, and then you can actually be a committish. So that can be the version, a tag, a branch, or the commit hash. So you have full support to be able to talk to GitHub and Bitbucket. And then of course, HTTPS. Okay. Oh, Brad says we never did SVN, so we'll move that to future. Right. HTTP or HTTPS. So your packages come from any location in the web. And our latest endpoint was jar support. And this jar can come from HTTP, HTTPS, files, Git, etc. Okay? And we made that in order for you to actually, you can actually go to Maven Central if you have that URL. And it will treat those jars as packages automatically for you. So there is no need to create manifests or new stuff. We're treating jars as first-class citizens now in CommandBox. In the future, we have other endpoints planned, and Brad, I'm sure, already shared the roadmap, so it'll be available there. Okay. All right. Now that we know where these packages come from, what can we do with it? The idea is that when you develop packages, you can distribute them without the dependencies, and that is a big deal. Most of the time in the CFML world, we're storing in our repositories everything known to man in order for application to work. That is out, okay? For modern CFML, you do not place your dependencies in your source control because that will be managed by CommandBox, okay? As well as the development dependencies. No more dependencies in your source control, okay? Unless there's a specific use case that you need them. However, 90% of the time, you will not have them. You also have the concept of what we call inception, and that's the whole concept of package management. Each package can go n levels deep in terms of dependencies. So you can have a weather app like you see on the right that you can clone from GitHub that will have a dependency on CallBox, TestBox, another weather module, which has another dependency on the geolocation module, which could have another dependency on an IP module, etc., etc., etc. So we can follow inception routing here, and CommandBox will address that tree of package management features and go through them and install them as needed. Okay? So what are the main commands to learn for packaging features? Install. That's to initialize a project that will actually look at your box.json and will look at the dependencies, and I will try to install all the dependencies for you. You can also say update. It will try to update all the dependencies that are outdated. So this is cool. Now you know which dependencies are outdated. So you can even use the outdated command. This will check for new versions wherever they come from, most likely ForgeBox, because ForgeBox is the only code endpoint that will provide you multi-version support, and verify if you have outdated libraries. If you do, it will give you an information and you will decide to update them or not. We have a list command. It will actually very easily allow you to visualize which commands you have installed in your package, in your application, I'm sorry. And then the uninstall command, which actually will uninstall either everything or a single dependency as you see fit. Right, multi-version support. This is one of the major features of ForgeBox. It allows you to treat your packages in such a way where you can decide which version you want to use in your application, or which version you want to install or uninstall. It is based on semantic versioning. You can go to semver.org and actually see how it works. It's very easy. because the concept of a major, minor, and patches starts getting funky when you start talking about release candidates and pre-releases and build numbers, etc. But it is very easy to follow. It is used for versioning all your packages, and it's leveraged by CommandBox for installation and updating. Like I said, ForgeBox is the only one that does multi-version support. So how will this look like in commands? So let's say that we have a package called foo, and we want to install the latest stable version. We can just say install foo. Now, we can use that, or we can tag it with an @ and say foo @ stable. That is the same as saying install foo. We can also install the latest version in pre-release mode. Okay? So you as a developer, when you publish your packages and the version of your package includes a pre-release portion, and this can be -snapshot, -release candidate, -beta, -beta 2, etc. If it follows the SEM versioning, semantic versioning, we will tag it as a bleeding edge. Okay? And you can install it by saying install foo @ BE. BE means bleeding edge. What if you wanted a specific version? You can just say install foo @ 123. And that will install version 123 of foo specifically. What if you wanted any version with a major number of 4? You can actually say foo @ 4.x. And that means that automatically it will be patching from minor releases down. What if you wanted any version greater than 1.5.0? You can also use foo @ greater 1.5.0. You can also use less. Okay? You can also use a in-between command. So you can say install foo greater than 5.2, less than or equal than 6.34. Okay? And there's more. You can say any version greater than or equal to 1.2, but less than or equal to 3.2. So you can use your shortcut of 1.2 space dash space 3.2. And there is more. There is the ability to do this little squiggly, and that allows patch level changes if a minor version exists. So you can see there install foo and then squiggly 2.1. And any greater version that does not modify the leftmost non-zero digit. If you can follow that, you can follow it. And that's foo @ 4.1.4. Right? So that will install all the different minor versions and patches. Okay? So there is a lot of these specifics for installing packages, so you can become very specific or very granular or more flexible. And believe me, I believe Brad took more time than he ever wanted on these things because he just got so excited. Right? So it's pretty cool that there are a number of ways for you to work with packages and multi-version support with ForgeBox. All right, moving along. Package scripts. Okay? Package scripts is one of the most powerful abilities that you have in CommandBox. It is an interceptor or an event-driven approach to CLI scripts. It will listen to CommandBox events, and it supports expansions. It supports CFML functions. It supports piping, environment variables, etc. So you have the full power of CommandBox in a short little script that you can package with your package. Okay? Here's an example. Here's the script's post version that will execute once a bump command has finalized after the version is set. And then you can actually use another command to set the location of your package. So I can say package, set location, get user, get repo, and then take the version number out with that expansion. So very easily, I can automate the way that my package is created. Post-publish is once I have published my package in ForgeBox, I can actually talk to Git with the question mark and actually talk to any operating system binary and push my changes with my tags so my locations can be reachable. You can also create ad hoc scripts that are not listening to specific CommandBox events, but your own events. which then you can actually execute using package run script. So I have a build process here embedded in my package where I call grunt. Remember, I can now integrate with any operating system binary, and I can say grunt build my UI, and then I'm going to execute testbox or testsbox. Typo. Let me fix the typo. I cannot see it like that. Okay. I can say testbox run, so we'll actually execute all my tests. If it fails, then my build process will fail. And then I can run another script, which is called generate API docs, which is another script in my package. Okay? And then if that is okay, and there are no invalid exit codes, then I can bump the version of my package with a patch, in this case, and publish it. Okay? The generate API docs is now leveraging another command called docbox, which is available for you to build CFC documentation. And I could just say docbox generate. Okay? So you can get very fancy, very nice, and you can incorporate a lot of automation into your packages, and then these can be executed via Travis, CI, or they can be executed via pipelines or GitLab or Jenkins. All right, another important aspect about CommandBox is artifacts. We spent a lot of time designing the artifacts around CommandBox in order for them to be fast. We had used NPM for a long time for our UI development, and we knew how long it takes to build stuff and how dumb it was in terms of caching. We did not want that. So CommandBox caches your downloaded artifacts in a specific location, which is portable, so you can actually move those artifacts around. Okay? You have a huge commands in order to work with those artifacts, so you can say artifacts help. Snapshots, if you're working with bleeding edge, they will always be downloaded. Okay, so that is important to know. Snapshots are always downloaded because you never know when is the latest snapshot. Okay? Internally, packages are organized by slugs, authors, and versions. Okay, so you have a neat little tree in order to work with artifacts. Mostly, we did this in order to use CommandBox in disconnected installs. That means that you have even no internet access. CommandBox will still work and package management will still work. You can still produce builds, okay? Because we're going to be leveraging the artifact as our first-class citizen source of packages, okay? And it will accelerate your build process. Maybe the first time your build process will take a little bit longer while it actually downloads the actual binaries. But if those binaries have no change, no versioning numbers have changed, or only deltas have changed, it will only download the deltas. So it is extremely, extremely fast for build processes. All right. I'll pause a bit and see if there's any questions before we delve into ForgeBox and how we can actually start collaborating and moving these packages into ForgeBox. So let's see if we have any questions here. All right, so is there a Docker sidecar for sidecar for holding the artifacts? I'm not sure I understand your question, Mr. Corey, about a Docker sidecar. We'll see if you expand on that question, and I'll continue, and then we'll come back to it. All right. So now we've seen a lot of the CommandBox features. So how does it integrate with ForgeBox? So ForgeBox.io is our ColdFusion CFML code directory. This is available for anybody in the CFML community to be storing their packages. Okay. It works in unison with CommandBox, and there's a tremendous amount of commands that we'll be seeing today for cloud package management. Okay? So let's start. First is registration. You need to have an account. Okay? You can do this through the CLI or the UI. Now this is in difference to NPM, or in NPM you have to do everything through the CLI. With ForgeBox, you don't. In ForgeBox, you can actually use the CLI, or we have a full UI that can take you by the hand and actually do everything that you can do in the CLI. So you have two approaches to this. Okay? It will ask you for a few questions, mostly username, password, first name, last name. Okay? And you can register. So you can actually go to security registration or just use the ForgeBox register command. Before you start ready to publishing, or actually your account is active, you need to verify your email. That's the only in process that we have, that you must be a real person, hopefully. Okay? Once you do that, you will be retrieving your own API key that you're going to be using for publishing, registrations, etc. Okay? Now, we have a tremendous amount of ForgeBox commands. You can just say ForgeBox Help, and it will give you the ForgeBox namespace, all the documentation around it, how to actually work with packages in the cloud. From logging into ForgeBox to showing your contributions, to publishing, to registration, searching, showing different packages, slug checks if you actually want to check if your slug is available or not, the different types of packages that are available, unpublishing, usage, and of course, multiple identities that we'll go through. ForgeBox supports the concept of multiple identities. What this allows you to do, it allows you to log in with many accounts. So in our case, for example, we have an Ortus Solutions account, which is used for publishing corporate or Ortus packages. But then most of the developers, I say all of the developers, have their own account. Okay? So we did not want a over-convoluted way in order to be actually having the ability to post or publish using multiple logins. So what you can do now is that you can log in, and we will store your API key in that location that you see, okay? And it will support multiple identities. So you can log in with as many accounts as you have. You can actually say ForgeBox, who am I? And it will tell you who you are at the current point in time, and be switching the account by using ForgeBox use and then the username you want to use. Okay? So we did a lot of development in here to support the multiple identities, which is great most of the time when you're working with companies and by yourself. Now, the publish command. The publish command will take your package and it will publish it in ForgeBox. This can be a public package or a private package. And yes, private packages are available now. Okay? It will read your box.json. It can also push your README files, change logs, and instruction files. So we actually look for specific types of files in your root, like readme.md, readme.txt, changelog.md, changelog.txt, license.txt, instructions.md, etc. Okay? Now, why we say make sure the location key is set is because when you are publishing right now to ForgeBox, we need to know where your package exists. In a version very near, about maybe a few weeks out, we will start providing storage. Okay, so this is exciting news. We're going to be providing storage, and I'll talk a little bit about storage in our future slides here, but storage is on the way, almost there. All right, package location. If ForgeBox needs to know where your package is, or ForgeBox Private will give you that storage. This can be coming from any code endpoint. So this is actually pretty cool. Mark Drew. That's funny. Sorry, distracted me. Anyways, the package location is also cool because you can publish a package like a legacy package that can actually point to another package. So that's actually really cool. So if you created a module called, let's say in this case, CB Anti-SAMI, but you later in time rename it to the Mark Anti-SAMI project, you can actually just change the location of the old package to point to the new package. So we have the ability to alias packages in this approach, especially for legacy or packages that you will no longer be maintaining. Okay? Like I said, a location is optional, okay, in the future. Once private packages will give you storage, you can opt out of that storage and you can still point them to whatever you want. Okay, so we give you that flexibility. All right, the location can also be dynamic. You saw in the scripts that I created a dynamic location. So this is very, very important if you're building automated packages. If you're using a CLI tool like Travis or GitLab or any of these CLI tools, you can actually use these CLI scripts in order to set the location, okay? And that can be very nice instead of you actually doing it manually, okay? So dynamic locations, just use the dynamic evaluation in CommandBox and you'll be on your way with automation. If you create an oops and you publish something and you messed up, you can unpublish it. This is your undo, your Control Z. Okay, so you can unpublish that specific version in the box.json. Okay, if you want to unpublish other versions, then you have to go to the UI. So in the UI, you can go log in and actually go look at your package. You will see a history of all your publishing. You can actually turn things off. You can tweak them. You can tune them. So the UI has a lot of capabilities as well that you won't find in the CLI. All right, bumping. The bump command is also very awesome. It allows you to bump the major, minor, or patch placeholders or release candidate holders of your package. Most of the time, you will use this as soon as you're ready to actually publish your package. You can actually call the bump command, tell it what type of release you're doing, and the message. Because if you are in a Git repo, so if your package is connected to Git, it will tag and commit your message for you. So this means that it will do all that steps that you need to do for source control for you, which is great. We use this all the time, and then if you connect this to package scripts, then automation is in play. With a simple bump command, you can pretty much do everything. All right, pro accounts. So the pro accounts for ForgeBox are coming. Private packages are already done. I'll show you how to work with private packages in the next slide. But the pro accounts in ForgeBox will be a monthly subscription service. They are free for a limited time. So while we are still in development, they will be free. And what you will get is the ability to have private packages and optional S3 storage. Now, the storage we've developed is pretty cool. What we've been doing is that we actually can geolocate you through CommandBox, and we have created right now we have created a US-based bucket, and we have created a European bucket. In the future, we'll be creating more of these replicated buckets. What this means is that your code will be automatically replicated through S3 and geo-distributed. That means that if you're installing or having a build process in Europe, then you're going to be using the European distribution center for your storage. If you're actually doing this build script or somebody's using your packages in the US, then it will be using the US-based storages. So we're doing a lot here in order to accelerate build processes and provide the best experience for building your software. Okay? Now this is all based on unique installation strings that I will show you how to work. And like I said, it will be free for a limited time, and there are many, many things that we're thinking about these pro accounts, even to the point we're even thinking about test box storage. So this is something that, that not all CI servers provide, which is a way to store your results of test box. So we're thinking that for pro accounts, we're going to be able to store all your results in JSON format and provide you a historical view of how your package is doing through tests. Okay, so we're a big proponent of tests here. So this is still something that we're still debating on, but we have many ideas for the pro accounts. So working with private packages. So your private packages will use the private box.json property if that needs to be set to true. If you set that to true, then we're going to treat your package as private. Okay. Now the slug now will change because it won't be a public slug. It will have to use our prefixed approach, which is @ForgeBoxUser/slug. Okay. That will be the way for you to work with private packages. Here's an example: package init, package set private equals true, package set slug equals @ForgeBoxUser my slug, publish, boom. It will take that, it will store it in ForgeBox, your code, and it will actually register as a private entity. Okay. Now, another topic that I did not mention that is going to be coming is collaborations. So actually collaborations are in QA process right now. So you're going to be able to add collaborators to your private packages or public packages as well with different permission levels. So you can start collaborating with other folks in your organization. Okay? So brainchild of Eric Peterson. If we have time, maybe he can give you a short demo of some of these features. But again, working with private packages is very easy. You just mark a package as private, and you make sure that you prefix it with your username. Then you can leverage it by just saying install at ForgeBox user /myslug, and you're off in the races using your private packages. All this is documented, by the way, in the documentation. Okay. Once we have some of these features solidified, we'll be introducing what we call our enterprise image. Our enterprise image is basically ForgeBox for enterprise or government as a Docker image. It will have all our encapsulated dependencies and code. You will receive a unique URL entry point when you start up your ForgeBox container, and it will provide you with unique CommandBox registrations so you can register it in CommandBox. So you can register, for example, ForgeBox register Ortus, that will be my key or my namespace, and then the location of that container. Okay, that can be a DSN, a DNS location, or it can be an IP address. Okay, once that ForgeBox enterprise image is registered, then you can install from it using our namespace. So you can say install Ortus CFBox, and that will install CFBox from that specific image or container, sorry. Or you can say Ortus at elmahano /CFBox, and we'll use that private package for that specific ForgeBox container. Okay. Now, this can be decoupled. This does not have to be in the internet. This can be in a local LAN, completely non-web accessible. If, however, you are a company that wants to have it web accessible or does not want to manage it, we will also provide enterprise managed. So this will be the same as having your own container, except we will manage it in our Ortus cloud in our own Docker Swarms. We'll just provide you with your unique URL entry points and CommandBox registrations, and then you're off in your own enterprise managed solution. Again, we do not have timelines for enterprise managed just yet or enterprise container. We are working on making sure that the private accounts are done and we have the features for everything there, but they're coming, okay? All right, with that said, I'm gonna leave you off with the very, very cool module, the CB-module-template. This is written by our team member, Eric Peterson, okay, which we call, funnily enough, our module guru, okay? Eric Peterson can sneeze in one day and spit out 3 modules, okay? Very, very awesome person. Anyways, it has the ability for you to do box.json and module config values already preset for you with a very cool, unique scaffolding approach. It will provide you with unit testing and integration testing if that module will be for ColdBox. Okay, so it gives you or promotes the intent of testing for you. It will automatically give you the ability to publish to ForgeBox with one command, so it has a lot of cool scripts available for you. And it automatically does Travis CI integration for you to run your tests on 5 different CF engines and versions, okay? So the CB module template, it is great. I really recommend it. Just say install CB-module-template, and then you will have a new module namespace where you can start scaffolding your own stuff, okay? Please go ahead. It is so easy. Any library that you have done, now you can actually share it. And this is what the last slide is about. We need you, okay? The whole idea of making CFML successful again is to get involved. We need to get out of legacy hell. We need to modernize. If we do not modernize or we do not evolve, we will die. That's a fact, okay? These applications have too much technology debt. You either will be hacked or everything will go kaput. So please understand it. This is serious in our community at this point in time. You need to start building more cool apps, more APIs, libraries, anything cool or anything that you find useful, come on, slap a little box.json, publish it, collaborate, okay? Share in ForgeBox.io, blog, present, share your knowledge. This is sorely needed in our community, so we can actually be proud of our CFML apps again. There are no more excuses. We have all the cool tools and more. There is no way for you to be shamed anymore. You can actually shame other languages now because of all the cool tools that you have available. So it's time to feel happy again. So with that, I'm open to any questions or anything you might be interested of what we're building with CommandBox and ForgeBox.